People Talking Sports Tuesday. We're still here.
I know. I can't believe it.
How have they not canceled the show yet?
I'm wondering about that.
We're running a little late today.
Yeah. Would you have any trouble getting in?
Yeah, they wouldn't let me in the building.
Yeah.
I was like, can I get in? And they were like, you're not on the list. I'm like, my face is on the side of the building. And they were like, yeah, but that's outside. I was like, all right. Well,
Yeah, I
we're waiting
wonder
for
if that's how they're going to tell us we're canceled. We're just trying to get in. They're like, no. And we're like, well, I guess it's over. Good run. What else did you do this weekend?
Rough weekend.
Yeah?
I'll tell you. That's my Rodney Dangerfield. I'll tell you. It was a rough crowd.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did a gig in Poughkeepsie.
Oh, that's the gig, too. They make you do stand-up in an elevator.
Oh, they want you? I said no.
Yeah, it's a good move.
And they were like, will you do that? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then on the way out, they're like, will you do it? I'm like, ah. I did one of those.
Yeah.
I was like, of course. I just say yes. And then when they ask, I pretend something happened.
Right.
That's my move.
What's the worst thing you think a club's ever asked you to do outside of just performing there?
The press kills me. It'll be like 5 hours of press some
Yeah.
weekends, like radio in the morning. And I did one in Boston recently, and the kid picks me up and he drops me off at the wrong radio station. Oof. So we get there, and I was just like, is this it? He's like, ah, man.
Bummer, bro.
That's how we talk.
Yeah, of course.
And then it's like, it was rush hour. So I was like, well, what now? He's like, I guess we'll go to the other one. I was like, all right. He drove me to the next one. He drove me to the wrong one twice.
It's kind of impressive at that point.
And then the radio guy walks in. He's like, thanks for being on time. I'm like, it's this kid. How about you? What's your worst road gig?
My worst one, I just did a public pool, so that's up there. That wasn't great.
That's not good.
No. I used to, it doesn't really happen so much anymore, but I used to, because there's another comedian named Anthony DeVito who used to do stand-up.
Yeah.
So I would show up.
We tried to get him for this show.
Yeah. I wondered, I was like, how did I get this job? I don't even know you.
We got John Franco is back.
I know, man. I can't believe it.
I don't know how we got this guy back.
He loved it here so much.
He loves us.
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna be friends with him.
Oh, I'm best friends.
Yeah.
I would go ahead and say that. Yeah.
We're not delusional.
No, not at all. I also think we'll be on the air for like 10 years.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Coming up next, People Talking Sports, our first of our 10-year run. We're joined for a second day by John Franco. Thanks so much for staying here overnight.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, really great.
I got to ask you about this. You had John Franco Day at Shea Stadium to celebrate your 300th save.
Yeah.
And you know where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going with this.
There was a big brawl. You get ejected from John Franco Day.
Yeah.
Was there a part of you that just wanted to be the umpire, like, this is my day?
I wasn't even thinking about that at the time. When the fight happened, it was a pretty good one too. Because I've been in some good ones in Cincinnati. We had a nice big one against the Mets when I was at Cincinnati. But this one was Pete Harnish and Scott Service, who were good friends. Pete Harnish got up to the plate because he brushed back one of the Cubs, and Scott said something to him, and Pete said something back to him, and the first pitch almost hit Pete, and then Scott got up and Pete slapped Scott, and then the next thing you know, it was all hell broke loose. And unfortunately, it was my John Franco Day, and I got thrown out on John Franco Day. And I was just trying to be a peacemaker, and then somebody took a swipe at me, and then just everything went crazy. And I never forget the umpire came over to the dugout, and he started pointing to the guy and says, you, and you are out. And I says, me, why me? And he says, look at you. And I says, yeah, I guess you're right.
The 80s Mets are such a wild team, their reputation. The 90s Mets didn't have the same reputation.
Well, we had a different reputation. We didn't win. The 80s won. 86 won, 88 won. In 90, we got close. But then, our reputation was guys blowing up firecrackers, guys shooting bleach at a writer, guys swinging golf clubs in the locker room, hitting somebody in the shoulder. So
Right.
We didn't win much in from 91 to 97. But then when Bobby Valentine came, things started changing. And then in 98, we got close. 99, we were in the playoffs. We lost to Atlanta. And then in 2000, obviously, we went to the World Series and played the Yankees.
Yeah, what was that like for you?
That was great. If a player tells you that these games mean nothing to them, they were lying, because we wanted to beat the Yankees and the Yankees wanted to beat us. And I know Mr. Steinbrenner wanted to beat the Mets so bad, and our ownership wanted to beat the Yankees bad too. So it was a lot of fun. The players and some good intense games. Obviously, We had Roger Clemens knock down Mike Piazza, hit him in the head, and then
That
the
was
World
not
Series.
cool.
So it was a lot of intensity.
Did you guys hate Clemens?
He was. I couldn't hate him because he was a teammate of mine a couple of years later
Right.
in Houston. So, but
That's how weird sports are. You're like, I hate that guy, and then
Yeah.
a year later you're on a team like, all right, I
yeah,
guess.
the same guy you were
like
fighting with, fighting against in a team fight.
But
or
that was a
something.
dirty play.
Well, it is what it is. You know, it's part. It was part of baseball.
Were you and Mike close?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a special connection to catchers?
Yeah, well, you know, the catcher's always there. They're suggesting what to throw. And the
Right.
pitcher has the final say.
Sure.
So Mike and I, we
It's
had
kind of like being in an actual relationship. A little bit.
yeah. It's almost like being married, right? Exactly. But when we were in the 2000 playoffs, we played the Giants, and I faced Barry Bonds. It was a crucial situation, and I never forget. Mike was putting fastball, and I kept shaking him off, and then finally he went to a changeup, and I threw a changeup, and I struck Barry Bonds out looking. And to this day, Mike said, I was calling changeup the whole time. I said, you're so full of it, man. You know, I said, let's go back and look at the tape and stuff. But
I mean, so you got to stay so mentally just so level-headed in the bullpen because you keep saying I might get called in today, I might not.
like a doctor.
Like a doctor.
On call. You're on
Yeah.
call every day. If the game is close, you know, you could see, you know, you prepare from the 7th inning on. If the game's a blowout, then you know you can put your feet up and relax because you know you're not getting in that game as a closer. But some of the other relievers will be in that game.
It is the coolest title of any
I had the
job.
best job in the world. I worked from 9:50 to 10 o'clock every night.
I do actually the same thing in comedy. It's the same job, less pay, but.
You gotta get part of the union now.
I got to ask you, because you're a native New Yorker, we were talking about Brooklyn before. How do you, when you look at Brooklyn now, is it weird to look at?
I was just in Coley Island last night.
Yeah.
Well, not last night because I slept there last night, but the night.
He's really going with our limited ideas here.
But the night before, okay? and I still have family there. My wife's family still lives there, so I go back quite a bit. You know, Brooklyn's where it's at, man. They got the best pizza in the world, the best delis in the world. So I go back there all the time.
I love it. Will you stick around and hang with our panel again?
Do I have to sleep all again?
Yes.
Okay, no problem. I'll be here. Absolutely, I'll be here.
We're back on People Talking Sports, day 2, with the only the only man to come between Mr. and Mrs. Met, John Franco, is back for more. And
He gave me the #1 sign too.
still not fired, Anthony DeVito. So happy he's still here. And she does a great Erin Andrews, and my eyebrows do a great Chewbacca. Meghan Hanley.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
The Mets postpone destiny and will not call up Tim Tebow. How do you feel about it?
Next question.
So you're not.
I kind of agree with them.
You agree with them?
Yeah, I
It actually says in the Bible, the Lord
now
says.
remember, we don't talk politics and religion, okay?
Well, this is an actual quote. The Lord says, "For I know the plans I have for you, and it's to finish 12 games short of the wild card."
I mean, I still work for the organization. I really can't talk about it.
I think the Mets should call up Mark Sanchez. Then Tebow eventually.
Why not? I think Tim Tebow should just stay in Florida all the time. It's where he has all his success. There's no reason to
You're right.
leave Florida.
Right.
He's a champion in Florida. They love him.
You're absolutely right, because he played in Colombia and he did well. And as soon as they moved him to Port St. Lucie, the Mets advanced A team, he's been ripping the cover off the ball. So
That's
he's
true.
doing well in Florida.
Loves
So
it.
yeah, larger question: why don't the Mets move to Florida? Do what all old New Yorkers do.
the
Go
whole
to
team.
Palm
They're
Beach.
there. They're there.
There is something
Wear shorts
exciting.
and black socks, right?
Yeah, new uniforms.
I don't know. On some level, it feels like the Mets are like, it's like they've got this guy. They're like, we know this guy. He's good for you. And the Mets are like, I don't know. They're like, wait a second. He's a virgin. He's waiting. And he's saving himself for you. And the Mets are like, too much pressure. Keep him down. You know? And this is a weird one too. The Cubs fans are keeping their World Series betting slips as souvenirs, and Vegas is loving it because that's a little weird that the Cubs are doing this. That they're like, you know, instead of cashing my $5,000 thing, I'm just going to hang it on my wall. Buy a T-shirt. Buy a World Series T-shirt.
Right.
Why are they doing this?
It's so Chicago. It's so Chicago. They love being like this lovable loser. Like, who else brags about being the second city? Nobody. Like, they're like, we're number 2. We're amazing. Like, you go to Chicago and all they play is Sinatra's My Kind of Town. It's like, he's insulting you. It's a town. He's calling your city a town.
He was being sarcastic.
He's being sarcastic. And they're like, no, it's great. It's great.
Deep dish pizza too. Oh, yeah, that's
Also, Sinatra made a song about everyone. Enough. It's like, he made a song about moonlight in Vermont. Get over it, all right?
He was just going place to place. That's hilarious.
And they love it. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Look at the way Chicago people eat. They don't care about the future. Thinking about stuff like that. It's like, yeah, bratwurst or whatever. I don't know how they talk. You know.
Maybe they're just gonna will those betting slips to their kids for wait for another 108 years.
Oh.
Before they win.
Whoa, tough talk, Franco. I love it.
I'm not even a Cubs fan, and that hurt a little bit. There's something about, there is something like about holding on. Like there's that legendary. I know you know that Ricky Henderson story, where apparently the rumor was that he framed his $1 million check, and the Oakland A's finance department had to call and be like, "Hey, we have too much money in our account," and he's like, "Oh, I did this to like remind myself of my million that I made," and they're like, "Yeah, why don't you just make a copy of it and frame that?" And he was like, "Oh."
People know Ricky. Maybe it might be true. He was. He came to play hard every day. He, lead off home runs, steal bases. He was a great guy to be around. Kept to himself. Liked to play cards a lot with Bobby Bonilla, but that was
The Mets are still paying.
Yes. Bobby Bonilla Day.
He had a
every
good
July
agent.
1st.
We have the same agent. Bobby's. He's gonna get paid until he's gone. Good for Bobby.
What's the name of that agent?
You guys need one?
Sammy Sosa, his new look, Mambo number, what the hell? What is that? I love Sammy Sosa, slamming Sammy. I mean, he must have been one of the most intimidating players to pitch against. You did well against home run hitters.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was something about the way he held the bat,
Yeah, he was, every time he got up there, there's another one of those guys that,
Right.
he could hit a ball out of the ballpark and out of the state. But I don't know what he's thinking about now, why he's doing what he's doing, but he was a great player.
How about McGuire? Was he another guy that you
He was
felt-
very intimidating because Mark was so big, you know, and in St. Louis they used to open the gates for the fans to come in,
Right.
so they could just watch Mark take batting practice, and he used to hit balls like way out of there. And the ownership was smart because you open the gates up a little earlier, the fans come in, they got
Right,
voting
yeah,
sessions to sell.
Yeah.
So
We should do that here. People watch us warm
let's
up.
see. 1, 2, 3.
You don't have to count. You don't have to count.
I had no idea that John Franco was like an insult comic. It's crazy. Very exciting.
There's an Italian guy from Benton that's roasting
When
everybody.
they called me, they told me to do that. It's a new show.
Summertime is blockbuster time. What's the best sports movie of all time?
Loving basketball.
What's your name, young lady?
Liz.
Liz, nice to meet you. My name is also Liz.
Coach Carter.
Coach Carter. Wow, you've never seen Raging Bull. That's amazing. You ever see Coach Carter?
Coach Carter, no.
The one with The Rock in it, and I can't remember her name. I love that movie. Air Bud?
Air Bud. You got the right answer. What about Air Bud?
Neither.
What's it called?
Player with his daughter.
Football Player with His Daughter is the #1 sports movie of all time. You heard it from Liz.
I like Angels in the Outfield.
Mighty Ducks 3?
Mighty Ducks 3, probably D3. That's the division I played in high school. Do you ever see Raging Bull? What about Caddyshack?
Neither.
Is it coming out soon?
It came out in 1980. Major League?
Matter of fact, yeah, I seen that one.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
All right, best sports movie of all time, Major League. You heard it here.
Joe List. You were in an episode of Our List.
Yeah, I was in Robert Wool, obviously was an agent, and there was an episode which I did was to remember the breed rights when they put the strips over your nose.
Yeah.
So Arliss got me an endorsement with the breed rights. I was one of the first players to have the breed rights on my nose, so it was kind of fun.
Oh, no. I once went on a date with Robert Wool's niece.
Wow.
That's all I got.
How did it go?
There was a second date, and not a third, so not that great. Michael Floyd of the Vikings is suspended 4 games for violating the no alcohol part of his DUI sentencing after a super extreme DUI arrest. He blamed the alcohol on kombucha or fermented tea that does not have a lot of alcohol in it. That's kind of like the time I got arrested for being drunk in public because I had too much Banaka. Yeah, they wanted to arrest me, but I smelled too minty fresh, so they let me go.
Right. This sounds like something that like I would make up in high school and tell my mom when I was caught drunk. Like, he'd be like, "Oh no, it was mouthwash. It was mouthwash." And like, "Where are your pants?" "I don't know."
Where are your pants?
It happened.
This is the most exciting episode yet.
Megan, go on.
It's like it's not a cool way to get, you know, suspended. They have, but it should be said that the Vikings do have a kombucha on tap in their facilities, but that doesn't mean it's like 0.4, so it's not a lot of alcohol in it.
Well, this might be shocking to some people, but I drink kombucha. Thank you. Thank you. I also do Bikram yoga. And I know there's not a lot of alcohol in it because I've never had a kombucha and been like, I could really go for another one. You have one kombucha and you're like, I'm good for about a year.
How far are the Vikings gonna run with this lie? They're just like, oh yeah, clearly Michael has a kombucha problem. We checked him into the best kombucha rehab facility.
It's kind of it's like catching an STD from a towel. You know, it's like. It's kind of a lame story. They're like, well, how did this happen? You're like, let's just say I have a lot of roommates. This is a crazy, LeBron-backed Blaze Pizza. This is LeBron's pizza company. It is the fastest growing chain. No restaurant chain's ever grown this quickly. It's LeBron. Yeah. And he went undercover. We have a clip of LeBron going undercover. Not great character acting work. It's pretty clear that it's LeBron. He's not exactly Sacha Baron Cohen. But
good for him. I mean, life after basketball, even though he probably won't need that, but it's good for him that he's has some other outside interests.
He's an entrepreneur.
There's so many players that, just throw away their money and they'll have nothing when they're done, whether it's basketball, baseball, whatever sport, but he's doing a great job.
You make a good point, though, that there are some players that go, like, you see LeBron, he's larger than life. You see him pop up in the pizzeria, you're like, yay, LeBron. Yeah. But you see, like, Antoine Walker, you're like, oh, man, that's kind of a bummer. That's not good.
Didn't he lose a lot of money?
Yeah, that was a joke. You misses the mark sometimes when you have to explain it afterwards.
Yeah, man, that's the thing, man. Everyone's worried that LeBron is going to leave Cleveland for L.A. No one's considered Domino's.
Papa John.
Yeah. That's what I just want them to take down the Papa John's Peyton Manning franchise. Just take it down. Finally a rival.
Right.
I think this will be a good thing. Maybe he'll kiss the owner of Blaze on the court. We don't know.
I heard that Kevin Durant might sign with Papa John's.
Oh, really? Bring it on.
Great, another super team. I was like, too, LeBron in the kitchen complaining, where he's just like, we need more pepperoni and a rim protector.
John, thank you so much for joining us again, man.
Thank you.
So much fun hanging out with you.
It's been great here for 3-4 days.
Stick around, we got the list coming up next. And we're back, and it's time for Liz Gonzalez and the list.
So today we're talking about the best cities to be an athlete in, and we're going to kick off the list with Dallas-Fort Worth. Now, I am from Fort Worth, but I don't want to live there. But there is one major perk I have to completely accept, and that's the following. Check this out. $1 million in New York City buys you a one-bedroom, 525-square-foot home. $1 million in Dallas-Fort Worth. That buys you a mansion, 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, a pool, on the golf course, in a cul-de-sac. They've got us on real estate.
Yeah, it's rough seeing that. I mean, also, if you're a millionaire in Dallas, you at some point will get to date Jessica Simpson. It's just the rules.
Next up, Miami. I had to put it on this list. The weather is wonderful year-round. No state taxes. It's the only place that's managed to ever pull LeBron James away from Cleveland. And let's be honest, Will Smith said it best. Party in the city where the heat is on. I'm not going to do that ever again. That's probably the corniest I've ever been.
Bienvenido a Miami. There you go. I chopped it.
Welcome
There
to
you go.
my thank you. This is why we need a lady up here.
Yeah, Miami is like, it's like galleries. It's.
I don't like Miami. Just one of my ex-girlfriends lives there, Gloria Estefan. So I don't like it there.
All your exes live in Miami?
Just one, just Gloria.
Moving on, Boston's got to be on this list. Look, they do have the craziest sports fans in the entire world, I think. But here's the thing, is that if you're an athlete and you really want love and attention, this is exactly where you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bunch of great franchises. So, but if that's the problem is if you don't get a ring, you're kind of forgotten. It's kind of like dating a girl in her 20s. You know, you see her 15 years later, and she's like, "And you are." I really went with the act out for that one too. So I went big on that joke.
Go big or go home. Of
I've
course
been
not.
up there, and there's girls that are like in tube tops, like short shorts, and they like know Dustin Pedroia's stats. And I'm like, this is impressive. That's impressive.
The best city to be an athlete, it's got to be New York City. Not just because I live here, but look, I have wanted to be here since I was 10 years old. And if you play in New York and you show up for your team, you're set for life. The city will turn you into a legend.
I do love it because everybody is tough here. I was like walking through Penn Station once, and there were two homeless guys who were just talking about how the Knicks better get their act together.
They're the ones.
This is
That's
great.
amazing. Yeah. Hey, man, it's great. Bagels are $8. Everyone goes through your bags and stuff. It's like living in an airport.
There are a lot of distractions, and it's super expensive, but it's New York City.
It
you
is
pay
great.
to live here.
Well, thank you so much for watching People Talking Sports. Those are the best cities with Liz Gonzalez. And Meghan Hanley, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys. This is awesome.
DeVito.
Yeah, man. I work here.
Keep watching the show. We're doing good things here. People are talking. People are talking sports.
And other stuff.
Other stuff. All right.